Welcome, 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 everyone. We are so excited to welcome you here to the April webinar for K-12 educators, family, and friends. This month is World Intellectual Property Day, or I should say today is World Intellectual Property Day, and we are very excited to celebrate World Intellectual Property Day in this forum this month, and to have with us three very special guests this evening. We know that you are excited to hear from our student presenters, but we have just in, fresh off the presses, our brand new director of the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. And we are simply thrilled that Director Kathy Vidal is able to join us this evening. And I want to tell you a little bit about Director Vidal before I turn things over to her to speak this evening. Director Vidal leads the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. She has one of the longest titles in government. That is the Undersecretary of Commerce for Intellectual Property and Director of the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. She started her career. Here we go. I love technology. uh, she is the director of America's Innovation Agency. And as the chief executive of the USPTO, Director Vidal leads one of the largest intellectual property offices in the world with more than 13,000 employees and an annual budget of nearly $4 billion. She is the principal IP advisor to the President of the United States and to the administration through the Secretary of Commerce. And she is focused on incentivizing and protecting U.S. innovation, entrepreneurship, and creativity, and helping American workers and businesses compete and collaborate, especially in key technology areas and across demographics. Director Vidal's love of science led her to attend Binghamton University at the age of 16, where she received her bachelor's in electrical engineering. Before graduating, she started her career at General Electric, GE Aerospace, later Lockheed Martin, where she designed one of the first artificial intelligence systems for aircraft. She was selected into the Edison Engineering Program and pursued her master's in electrical engineering at Syracuse University's Knight Program. In addition to her bachelor's and master's degree, Director Vidal also received her JD from the University of Pennsylvania Law School. And I would please join me in giving a warm welcome to Director Vidal. We are so appreciative of her taking time to be with us this evening.
Thank you, Joyce, and thank you for all you do. And I am so excited to be here because of people like you. So thanks for that. I will say that I am not the star of this show. I'm the newest. I'm the newest thing. So that's about all I can offer. Mulan and Malachi are really the stars here, and I'm so excited to meet them. We had a little discussion before we came on, and I would invite them to maybe reach out, and we can just do get on a call and just chat about your careers, and I would love the opportunity to do that. And thank them both. I want to thank them both for serving the USPTO as interns in our regional office, Elia McCoy regional office. So thank you for that. I'm looking forward to hearing their ideas on education and how we can incentivize more innovation through our schools. I also want to thank everybody on this call. I mean, I am so thrilled that the USPTO has this program, but it's really you who are spending your evenings, I guess, depending upon where you are in the country, spending your afternoons, tuning in and really focusing on how to make your content better, how to teach and promote an innovation atmosphere, an innovation culture for our kids, because they are our future. And that's why I was so thrilled to find out that this whole subject of today is really focused on our youth. So super excited about that. I will say I started out this morning at Cora Kelly Elementary School, and Juan, who's on the call, was there with me. He does a lot of work for them, which is phenomenal. And we spoke about innovation there, and the kids went off. These are second graders, went off, and in 20 minutes they came up with their own innovation. One came up with robots to prevent texting while driving, because the problem was how to solve the issue of automobile crashes. And so they were going to have a robot on the road that would stop people from texting because they realized that was a main cause of automobile accidents. And another came up with the idea that your shower would turn on automatically when you wake up. I mean, the ideas were incredible. So that was so inspiring, and I read to them. So I love what Dr. Arlene Simon has done with the Abby Invent series, making innovation inclusive and letting people see themselves and the innovators. And so I reached out to her. I read the Abby Invents Unbreakable Crayons book, and she did a nice video to the students that they could hear and see her directly. I thought that was amazing. Quick funny story. So in her book, she talks about inventing crayons that are unbreakable, and she goes through the whole invention process, and she says that one of the things that the inventor thought about, that Abby thought about, was what else is unbreakable. So Abby she's in a playground, and she looks around her and she says, oh, there's the hard plastic bench, there's the hard plastic swing, there's the hard plastic slide. And one of the second graders said, what was his words? Like, oh, he says, incorrect. And the principal started laughing because apparently their hard plastic slide had broken. So their hard plastic, so the principal sent me a picture of it. The hard plastic slide has cones and tape all over it so that nobody goes on it until it's fixed. So it was so funny, these second graders just being so innovative and creative, and then the comment like incorrect was just hilarious. But it was phenomenal, and I'll just tell you one other funny story. So I went around and asked people about their inventions, asked the kids about their inventions as they were working on them, and one had an invention related to Roblox. And I said, oh, my 20-year-old son is a developer on Roblox. He invented 2 of the games there, and I told him the games. And all of a sudden, they went from a level of excitement of about a 2 to like a 20. Like, they're just like, what? So I've learned from that next time I introduce myself, and Joyce, you're going to have to remember this, I'm the mother of a Roblox developer and the undersecretary and the director. So I think I buried the lead, and that's really how I need to approach this. So and that just kind of reinforced, like, you need to meet people where they are. You need to think about things the way they think about things. I love all the work you're doing, Joyce and James, and all the stuff that you're doing, Crystal, to just do just that. And the one thing I will say before I turn it back over to Joyce is, I am here to support the work that you teachers are doing. Like, that's one of the most important things I'm doing. Just to give you an idea, this morning, I didn't just go speak. I invited somebody from the Department of Education to speak with me, so we could start thinking about how can we scale this? How can we scale all the great work? How can I start that dialogue? And so I met with one of the chiefs of staff this morning, told her I wanted to talk about this, hooked her up to somebody who advised Obama on this very subject. And I just want to get off and running on this. So if you have any ideas on how I can support you, if I need to have conversations with the Department of Education, if I need to talk to your governors, like, I will do anything it takes to move this forward, because it's so critical to our country. It's so critical to the future of our kids, to jobs, to economic prosperity, to making sure that we have national security. So thank you for all you do. I will turn it over to the stars now, but I super appreciate just having a few moments to chat with you. Thank you. Over to you, Joyce.
Director Vidal, thank you so much. Your enthusiasm is contagious, and we are so fortunate to have you here at USPTO. It speaks volumes that you have spent World Intellectual Property Day giving up your time to work with students and teachers and educators, and closing it out with us this evening with our wonderful high school students from the Urban Alliance program, who are working with the Elijah J. McCoy Midwest Regional Office. Thank you so much to James Wilson, Crystal Hammond, who has been coaching our students this year. You'll hear from them later, but right now we are bringing on the stars of this evening's show. We are honored and delighted to have with us Mr. Malachi Harris. Malachi is a senior at Detroit Collegiate Preparatory High School. He is a diligent student who aspires to work in marketing. Artistically, Malachi has a passion for sharing his beautiful voice and is a competent rapper. As an analytical thinker with a desire to share his opinions, Malachi prides himself on being a careful listener. Always open to new experiences and adventures, Malachi is working diligently to be comfortable in social settings in person and through virtual platforms. Um, I'm going to now introduce Ms. Milan Moses, and then I will turn things back over to Malachi to kick us off with some of his original works. So Miss Milan Moses is a senior at Renaissance High School in Detroit. She is a teenage entrepreneur and businesswoman. Milan has already started to distinguish herself as an independent business owner in the greater Detroit metropolitan area with a strategy of expanding her business throughout the Midwest. With the drive and vision to establish a growing eyelash business, Milan has strengthened her business acumen by expanding her knowledge in intellectual property matters. Ms. Moses and Mr. Harris hope to share their knowledge of intellectual property and the USPTO with educators and peers by providing an IP basic sessions by providing IP basics sessions to Detroit public school students interested in business, STEM, career, technical education, and entrepreneurial endeavors. We are delighted and glad to have with us this evening Mr. Malachi Harris, Miss Milan Moses. Please give them both a warm round of applause, and we are going to turn things over to Mr. Malachi Harris.
Thank you, Ms. Joyce. Good morning or afternoon, depending on your location. My name is Malachi Harris, and I am a senior at Detroit Collegiate Preparatory High School at Northwestern. I am an intern with the USPTO's Midwest Regional Office, and I will be giving today's presentation on intellectual property basics. How would you promote World IP Day to your peers? I will promote April 26th, World IP Day, to my peers by incorporating things they already have knowledge of. For example, I could touch on video games and how the games they play have trademarks, such as Madden has EA Sports, it's in the game. Mortal Kombat has Finish Him, Her, and Fatality. Netflix has that big thumb which everyone is familiar with, and as soon as they hear that sound, they know exactly which platform is being used. Also, Fortnite is a game which has a big impact in the world today. By incorporating things they are already familiar with, it will make it easier for them to be engaged and understand rather than explaining something we want them to get and not providing anything they share interest with. We can build a better community by speaking out and promoting April 26th, which is the day to celebrate World Intellectual Property Day. By doing this, we can inspire young, up-and-coming creators whose goals are to meet and exceed achievements from people who already achieved those goals. What is the USPTO? The United States Patent and Trademark Office is a part of the Department of Commerce, and it's the federal agency that grants U.S. patents and registers trademarks. The mission of the USPTO is fostering innovation, competitiveness, and economic growth, domestically and abroad, to deliver high quality and timely examination of patent and trademark applications, guiding domestic and international intellectual property policy, and delivering intellectual property information and education worldwide, with a highly skilled, diverse workforce. When the USPTO invests in programs like paid work experience for students, it helps to ensure that there is a more diverse group of people, like Mulan and myself, who know about the USPTO and the value of intellectual property. Intellectual property can promote innovation and help safeguard your inventions, help companies grow, benefit the community by making new goods and services available, provide personal growth, development, and advancement. The more people know about intellectual property, the more they will be able to actively participate in the innovation ecosystem and help build a better future for all of us. IP intensive industries are a critically important component of the US economy. 45.5 million jobs, 38.2% of US GDP, 46% higher pay. Much of human progress depends on innovation. It depends on people coming up with a breakthrough idea to improve life and then acting on it. Think about COVID vaccines, cancer treatments, modern microphone, or the silicone chip. For this reason, society should have a big impact in making sure that as many people as possible have the opportunity to become scientists, inventors, creators, or entrepreneurs. It's not only a matter of fairness. Denying opportunities to talented people can end up hurting everyone. A study conducted by a research team at Stanford, MIT, Harvard, and the London School of Economics concluded that we could quadruple the rate of innovation in the US by increasing innovation rates among women, people of color, minorities, and those from lower income families. What is intellectual property, or IP for short? Intellectual property refers to creations of the mind. Patents, trademarks, copyright, and trade secrets are tools used to protect these creations. A person or company may own some of or all these types of IPs. You could come up with a concept or idea and turn it into something tangible that can be reproduced like a brand name, an invention, or a cool song that you write down and record, but you have to act on your ideas in order to get intellectual property protection. That protection allows you to exclude other people from using your creations without permission. Today, we will discuss 4 types of intellectual property protection: patents, trademarks, copyrights, and trade secrets. A patent may be used to protect new, inventive ideas that have been reduced to practice. Again, you have to do something with your ideas. A patent may be used to exclude others from practicing your invention. There are 3 types of patents: utility patent, design patent, and plant patent. Next, we have trade secrets. A trade secret is any information that is valuable and kept secret, such as the formula for Coca-Cola. A trademark or service mark identifies the origin of goods or services and it distinguishes them from others. In this sense, trademarks protect brands as well as consumers. Lastly, we have copyrights. Copyrights protect creative expression stored in a tangible form, such as music, movies, or literature. The spoken word you heard me recite at the beginning of this program, that was my copyright. That's right, my intellectual property. First, we will discuss patents. What is a patent? A patent is a property right. It gives the patent owner the right to exclude others from making, selling, using, offering for sale, or importing the claimed invention. A patent has a limited term. Depending on the type of patent, the term is limited to 15 or 20 years. Patent protection or territorial, meaning that protection is limited to the territory where the patent was granted. There are no worldwide patents. For example, if you would like protection in the US, you will file your application with us at the USPTO. If you were interested in filing in several countries, you would need to file a patent application with the patent office in each of the territories you would like protection. There are 3 types of patents: design, plant, and utility. Design patents protect the way a product or article looks, the ornamental expression. Protection lasts for 15 years after issue. Here's a few video game console design patents from Microsoft. Plant patent protects newly invented strains of asexually reproducing flowering plants, fruit trees, and other hybrid plants. And protection lasts for 20 years from the filing date. Utility patent protection. It protects how an invention works, functions, or is made. Protection lasts for 20 years from the filing date. A utility patent may be directed to a process, machine, article of manufacture, or a composition of matter. An invention may be drawn to a machine, a composition of matter, improvements, a process or method of making or using a product, an article of manufacture. An invention must also be new or non-obvious, useful, and clearly described. Here is an example of a cool patent. Did you know that the popsicle frozen treat was created by accident? One day, way back in 1905, an 11-year-old boy named Frank Epperson mixed some soda water powder and water and left the mixture on a back porch overnight with the stirring stick still in it. The temperature dropped, and the next morning, Frank found a frozen treat. The product was originally marketed under the trademark Epsicle, but the name was later changed to the popsicle brand that many of us know today. And now, I would like to introduce Mulan Moses, who will take over from here.
Thank you, Malachi. Good morning or afternoon, depending on your location. My name is Mulan Moses, and I'm a senior at Renaissance High School in Detroit. I'm an intern with the USPTO's Midwest Regional Office, and I'll be giving part 2 of today's presentation on IP basics. Next, we will discuss trademarks. Please note, when I use the term trademark in this presentation, I am also referring to trademarks and service marks. What is a trademark? A trademark is a brand name. A trademark or service mark may include words, names, symbols, devices, sounds, colors, or any combination used or intended to be used to identify and distinguish the goods or services of one seller or provider from those of others, and to indicate the source of the goods or services. You can think of a trademark as a source identifier. It's like a fingerprint of commerce. Here are a few examples of well-known trademarks. If you recognize them, put them in the chat. But don't just give me the trademark. Tell me the goods or services they are used with. I'll give you a hint. The first one is Under Armour and is used to identify the source of a t-shirt and clothing company. Now you try. Okay, I can see that you guys are doing a great job in the chat. I can see that you know your trademarks. Why are trademarks so important to consumers? Would you brush your teeth with the tube on the left or drink the beverage on the right? Of course not. How do you know the tube is toothpaste and not Neosporin? And who knows what's in that can? Here are a few common examples of things that can function as trademarks. The BMW logo, the phrase, the ultimate driving machine, the Nike swoosh and the phrase, just do it, the Target bullseye and the phrase, expect more, pay less. Notice these are mostly words and symbols, but other things can function as trademarks too. Shapes of products may also be registered as trademarks. Here are a few examples. The shapes of Pete's Candy, the Disney ears, Goldfish crackers, and a Volkswagen car, and the Hershey's Kiss candy. Actually, almost any matter can function as a trademark, so long as it helps you, 1, identify, and 2, distinguish the source of the goods. Next, we will discuss copyrights. Anything you write down, paint, photograph, etc. is copyrighted, but it needs to be protected by registration with the Library of Congress to gain strong protection under the law. Copyrights protect original works of authorship, including literary, dramatic, musical, artistic, and other works fixed in a tangible medium. Generally, the term of a copyright is good for the life of the person who developed the work plus 70 years. The encircled C symbol can be used without registration. Things protected by copyrights include songs or beats, movies, books, sounds, software, and sculptures. A copyright is a bundle of rights that gives the owner the right to 1. Make copies, 2. Prepare derivative works, 3. Distribute copies, 4. Perform the work publicly, and 5. Display the work publicly. So if I want to use Malachi's spoken word for a music video, I will need to negotiate with him. Next, we will discuss trade secrets. What is a trade secret? A trade secret is any information that derives economic value from not being publicly known. A trade secret can be formulas, patterns, compilations, programs, devices, methods, techniques, or processes. The main thing is that it has to be a secret. All states have some sort of trade secret protection. Here's an example. I remember seeing the news about trade secrets. In August of 2020, a former Uber executive was sentenced to 18 months in jail for trade secret theft from Google. Here are a few examples you may be familiar with. The secret formula for Coke products, KFC's original recipe, nobody knows what's inside of a Twinkie, the Listerine recipe, the special sauce on the Big Mac, and Krispy Kreme donuts. Trade secrets may also be used to protect software. Why are trade secrets useful? Trade secrets protect commercially valuable proprietary information that gives a competitive advantage. A trade secret may be used to protect things such as customer lists, product formulations, and search algorithms. Trade secrets are not generally known and must be subject to reasonable efforts to preserve confidentiality. Trade secrets may be used to prevent employees and contractors from disclosing your secrets to competitors and the public. Another benefit of trade secrets is that there is no set term for protection. As a recap of intellectual property concepts discussed today, I want to see if you can find the IP in a mobile phone. Here are the trademarks: patents, trade secrets, and copyrights. Pause. Let me see your answers in the chat. Okay, first we have trademarks. Trademarks protect words, symbols, logos, designs, or slogans that identify and distinguish products or services such as Apple iPhone X or software iOS. Next, we discuss patents. Utility patents and design patents can include the semiconductor, circuits, the battery and power control, antenna, the design of a phone or placement of the camera. We also discuss copyrights. Copyrights protect original works of authorship, including literary, dramatic, musical, artistic, and other works fixed in the tangible medium, such as software code, the instruction manual, and the ringtone. Finally, we discuss trade secrets. Trade secrets protect things such as formulas, methods, devices, or compilations of information which are confidential and gives business an advantage. An example could also be the software code. Protection lasts as long as information remains confidential and functions as a trade secret. This concludes our presentation. Thank you for joining us, and we hope you've learned some interesting ways to introduce intellectual property to others. Now let me introduce the PLC for the Work-Based Learning Program in Detroit for these outstanding students, Mr. James O. Wilson, the Assistant Regional Director of the Elijah J. McCoy Midwest Regional Office. Mr. Wilson has been an avid supporter of K-12 learning opportunities for students and educators. He will facilitate the question and answer period.
Good afternoon. First and foremost, I'd like to commend Malachi and Milan for a job well done. Outstanding information presented in an outstanding manner. We have watched you work on this information and mature into owning it. And we are so proud of you. If there are any questions that any of the instructors might have, or anyone would like to put into the chat, that would be great. We will address those. But as a surprise, I'd like to engage my two students, Milan and Malachi, and I'd like to ask them a couple of questions, if you don't mind, and just see how they are feeling about where they are and some of the things that they've learned. So Malachi and Milan, my first question is, what did you know about the United States Patent and Trademark Office before you came and participated in this internship?
Well, before I came and participated in this internship, I didn't know a thing about the office.
Milan?
I didn't know much about it either. Honestly, I had never heard of it.
Okay. All right. And that's fair. And that's fair. And that's a part of the reason why our new director is out speaking to young people and moving in the K through 12 space to raise awareness of the United States Patent and Trademark Office and all that we bring to the table to advance intellectual property matters through the ecosystem. So had you ever heard of any of the types of IP that you actually educated our audience about? Had you heard about patents, or had you heard about trade secrets, or any of them?
I've heard about trademarks because of my business, and I've heard about copyrights because of the music that I listen to.
Okay. All right. Do you have a trademark?
No, not yet, but I'm working on it.
Okay, let us know. We'll give you a hand with that. We've got lots of resources available to assist everyone with trademarks. Mr. Harris, what was your level of knowledge with regard to these intellectual property types?
Well, I heard of trademark um, in a business class sophomore year of high school, and Copyrights, I just heard of it watching interviews of singers that I love and want to know everything about. So yeah,
Okay, all right. So are you familiar with blurred lines and the issue that arose with Marvin Gaye's music?
I heard of it, but I don't know too much about it.
I want to encourage both of you to listen to Blurred Lines and then to go back and find the Marvin Gaye song that they said the song was taken from, and to see if you can hear. I listened 2 or 3 times, and then somebody said you really have to close your eyes and slow it down a little bit in your mind, and you'll hear it. And it is almost an identical backbeat, and almost an identical backbeat. Do you? Let me see. Do you feel IP will be a part of your career, or that it will be a part of things that you will do in the future? Malachi, you wrote an amazing piece on how to make
Thank you.
students aware of IP. In it, you talked about making the information relevant to students. I want you, after you tell me whether or not you think IP will be a part of your career aspirations, ways that teachers, parents, and students can engage around this topic. So the first question is, do you see IP in your future?
I definitely see IP in my future.
Okay. And what is it? What do you aspire to do? Share that with our audience, please.
Well, I aspire to be in marketing.
Okay. And since you now are a pseudo expert in intellectual property and you've gone through them, which parts of the intellectual property do you believe will be a part of what you do?
I I believe copyright would be the biggest part I would be working with.
Okay,
It-
okay, all right. And because I am assuming that you're going to be in maybe graphic arts, or you're going to lead a team that's going to come up with the music, come up with the
yes.
graphics, come up with the text, maybe even come up with the slogan. Okay. All right. I can see that. Well, Milan, you're already an established businesswoman in the Detroit metropolitan area. And do you see, and you've already said that you're considering pursuing a trademark. Um, by chance, do you have any interest in uh, patents or any of the other types of intellectual property?
Yes, definitely. Um, well, trademarks is something that is definitely going to benefit me, or I'm going to use that in my life because I want to run a virtual and have a business across state lines, which will benefit me in the long run.
Okay. All right. Any chemistry in your background for cosmetics or any of those types of things, perhaps?
Well, I don't know, eyelash business. So,
Okay. All right. So you brought it up, so I'm gonna pursue it, Miss Moses. You started your business during the pandemic. Would you care to share some of the challenges that you faced? We actually did all manner of initiatives to assist businesses and entrepreneurs and small businesses throughout the country during the pandemic. So you started a business during the pandemic. What were some of the things that you found were a challenge for you?
well, with everything going on, definitely keeping focused and not giving up and staying persistent. And especially since I'm in high school right now, so I definitely need to manage my time and be able to manage my money, learning new things every day.
Okay, so budgeting,
Mhm,
priorities,
mhm,
and the significance of not quitting.
mhm.
I can appreciate all of that. All of that. So I had a second part to my question, and I'm going to address it to you first, Malachi. And it dealt with: are there some ways that you can think of where students, teachers, and parents can engage their can engage their children or students around the topic of intellectual property?
Of course, there are ways that teachers and parents can engage students around this topic. For starters, incorporation into the curriculum, like science should discuss inventions and innovation.
Okay.
Everybody listens to music, so that's a big placement for that, and it revolves around it very good.
Okay.
Writing classes, musicians, screenwriting, etc.
Okay. And so what form of intellectual property would that be?
Copyright.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm just checking. I just wanted to make sure that I was clear. That was what I got from your discussion earlier. And I understood that when Ms. Moses articulated all of those facts about copyrights. Um, Tell me something about some of your colleagues in the program. Everybody is just congratulatory and is very happy with regard to how you have represented yourself. You've represented the Elijah J. McCoy Midwest Regional Office, how you've represented the United States Patent and Trademark Office, how you've represented Urban Alliance. We are over the moon. And so are there any more like you?
Yes, there are. For starters, Sarah has a business. Darius is into music and beats, and Fatima has created and produced videos.
Okay. All right.
We also have Asia, who's very headstrong and she's very determined. You can definitely see that in her work. So,
Okay. All right. Well, I know that we have been working very closely together, and we are becoming a unit with regard to accomplishing group tasks and working to be a team. And being your mentor, we want to teach you, being one of your mentors, we want to make sure that we're teaching you across the board how to be a better human. We've talked about ethics. We've talked about individual responsibility in the workplace. We've talked about understanding and knowing who you are. We've talked about self advocacy. We've talked about studying and understanding what it is that you're supposed to do. Are there any things that you've experienced during this process and during this program that have made an impact on you? Something that you're going to carry with you. And I know we're only midway through the program, but I'm hoping something's sticking. We throwing a lot of stuff on the wall, so we're hoping that there's something that comes to mind that really helps you uh, move forward and feel as though you're being better prepared for your future.
I would definitely say being organized, definitely being organized, and you guys teaching us how to be organized, you guys teaching us etiquette, that's really important. Also, the information about the IP as a whole, because as you know, as a child, you're very creative, and if you have an idea, you should definitely stick to it, and you could create a patent.
Okay. Mr. Harris, have you something to add?
Yes, I would definitely say the encouragement. Like we talk about work, but at the same time, we can talk about college and post high school plans. Like all of that is really guiding me and helping me and benefiting me in the best way possible. Thank you for that.
Okay. Well, you know what? There are some questions in the chat that you may be able to give some uh, quick answers to, and if they're long answers, because you have to answer them by thinking it through, that's fine too. How can a teacher make IP more engaging or interesting to students? Is there something that you can think of? Of course, Malachi, in your copywritten document at the beginning, you said meet young people where they are. But are there some other things that you can think of that teachers might be able to do and that parents might be able to do to encourage uh, and engage in intellectual property, making it more interesting?
Well, I would say again what I mentioned in my script, but
Okay.
also I would say like you can talk to them and see what their interests are. And you
Okay.
can go from there because I feel like if you know what their interests are, that'd be better with placing everything.
Putting things in place as a
Yes,
result of knowing where they want to go and what they want to do.
exactly.
If their interest is sculpture, if their interest is music, if their interest is drawing or painting. Um, so would you look to engage them in activities around what they have a passion for and tie that to intellectual property?
Yes, I would.
Okay. Okay. All right. Good answer. So, Milan, what inspires you and what inspired you to want to have your own business or to work for yourself or to be the boss?
Definitely my family because I come from a family of people that are very hardworking, and I know like half of them are working for other people, and they don't really want to work for other people, and they have the drive and the ambition to start their own business, but somehow they just never do it. So I decided that I wanted to be the one to make sure that I'm gonna have my own business and I'm gonna work for myself. And yeah.
Breaking the mold,
Hmm.
doing something different. Love it. Love it. What can teachers do to encourage students to be okay? I think I kind of asked that question. That question came. In doing your internship, were there things that you learned that you ended up talking with your friends and family about? If so, do you have an example of something that you've taken from the internship and shared with someone else?
Yes, my best friend also owns her own business, but she doesn't really know about what she didn't really know about trademarks. So I taught her about that. I also taught her about patents because I never knew about that. So I taught her about that too. We talked about that and yeah, something that we both wanted to do and invent something.
Okay. All right. Mr. Harris, have you been able to share some of the information that's been uh, given to you?
Yes, my story is a little bit similar. I do have friends that want to be in fields that requires trademarks or copyrights, and I kind of sort of taught them about them since I'm here and I'm being provided the information. I'm a resource to them. So
Okay.
yeah.
All right, resource man. So, Milan, someone in the chat asked, what is the business that your best friend is engaged in?
She owns an online boutique, well, selling clothes. So she owns an online like clothing store.
Okay. And so does she design clothes herself?
No.
Oh, okay. All right. So she's like resale
Mm-hmm.
of things that exist. Okay. All right. What is a good way that teachers might be able to help students learn to innovate? Well, I think I'm going to take that. I'm going to take that one. I think something that we see from these young people, these young adults, and that we see as we go out is that planting the seed and watering it and allowing it to grow. So giving them a scenario. Director Vidal spoke today about young people, second graders, coming up with inventions to solve a problem. So I think that it's always a great idea to help students learn to innovate, to give them a challenge. So one of the projects that I know I work with that I found amazing, and I told the people, the young people, you should run out and get a patent for this now, was how can you modify a backpack in a way that would make it be uh, do something that's unexpected. And one of the groups in a classroom of students said, I walk home every day, and some days it's raining. I would put an umbrella as part of the spine or the back of the backpack that I could fold all the way down and you wouldn't see it. But when it started raining, I could take off my backpack, extend the umbrella, and I could just go ahead on and walk home and get home dry. So giving students an opportunity to actually think about things that they can do. How would you modify the case for an iPhone, what would you do to the case of an iPhone that might make it something new or different, or how would you modify that? You know, it's giving them an idea and allowing them the opportunity to run away with it. Okay. I'm actually working down through the chat. Have you, lady and gentlemen, have you attended any of the USPTO workshops or symposiums? Have you gone and heard any of the presentations that have been given at the USPTO? And is that something that you would share with some of your friends, or you might expect that they would be able to learn from that?
Yes, I have. And one that really sticks out to me is the Women's Entrepreneurship Symposium, because there's a lot of generals in today's age, and I feel as though women can do a lot. And it's not just men that have this creative mindset and imagination to go far and beyond. Like women can do the same thing. So that was a good presentation. I loved it.
Great
I agree with
perspective.
Malachi.
Great perspective, great perspective. It's a part of one of the slides. It said that as we expand and we move into low income, people of color, minorities, veterans, as we move into these spaces and expand exposure to intellectual property, it will allow for invention and innovation in America to quadruple. That is mind blowing. And so our failure to invite everybody to be players and participants in the innovation ecosystem serves as an input. It serves as a boundary from allowing us to have that many more inventions, having that many more modifications of things that make a difference in our lives. Let me see. People are liking your answers. They think that you're pretty intelligent. Something I already know. Uh, Milan, do you think you will ever create something for your eyelash business that you may want to get patent protection for?
Yes, definitely. I've already been thinking about it.
Okay. All right. Well, let me encourage you to get a chemist on board and somebody who can work with you so that you can collaborate and share in the process with someone. Tell me this, Malachi. If you were the king of the world and you could control everything, who would you have made come to listen to this presentation? Who do you think would have benefited greatly from this presentation? And
Hmm.
and and Milan, the question is, if you were the queen of the world and you could control who would come, who would you say might come to this? You would want to come to this and to hear you speak today.
Malachi, you want to go first? Or
Okay.
okay.
I would probably say Beyonce just because of her platform. And I know her platform will have a lot of people all ears, and that'll bring a lot of people in and have everybody being creative and having them have the ability to express their creations.
So you talking about going to a superstar and sharing this information. And then you're the king of the world and you're inviting Beyonce. Okay. Miss Moses, who would you invite?
Definitely inner city kids, just because
Okay.
this is very important and it's something that they should know. And that I know that a lot of people or a lot of inner city kids don't really know about this because I, for one, didn't know about it. And I feel like this is definitely beneficial and important for you to know.
So you would encourage the school system and teachers to have a basic understanding of intellectual property so that they can share that with their students. I have an example of a curriculum. Milan, that was a great answer. A curriculum from Massachusetts. And Massachusetts is quite frequently stated to be have the best school systems, public school systems in the country. So something that I found today was in the 3rd grade, students are asked to demonstrate a basic understanding of intellectual property rights and the difference between sharing something and ownership. 3rd grade, 3rd grade. In the 5th grade, students should demonstrate an understanding of how to show respect for personal intellectual property. So all of this information that you share, they want a 5th grader. They want this information to be shared at the 5th grade level. 7th and 8th grade students should be able to explain ethical and legal issues relating to the use of intellectual property, including print, visual, audio, and online materials. In other words, being good digital citizens in the copyright space. Okay? And then in 9th through 12th grades, students should demonstrate respect for intellectual property, copyright restrictions, fair use, and public performance rights when downloading or duplicating media. I mean, just outstanding information that you're gaining and you're getting as a senior. You'll take this to college with you, and depending on what you get into when you're in college, you will just be the man and the woman with information that you will be able to share and to edify people around you. I want to commend you for the excellence in which you presented this information. We're going to look to find extra opportunities for you to speak to individuals about intellectual property. And I am so proud of the 2 of you. And I see so much maturity and growth in just the 4 months that I've spent time with you. And it does my heart well. I'm going to ask Miss Joyce Ward if she would come back on, and if there is anything else that she thinks we might need to address or any additional questions that we need to turn our attention to. Joyce?
Yes, hello. And I was going to say, and I invite Crystal Hammond and Juan Valentin from USPTO to also join. They've pointed out that there are a couple of questions in the chat that perhaps we have not yet gotten to. And we definitely want to provide those answers. We want to answer those questions. I also want to just flag for Malachi and Milan the fact that not only do you have a national audience this evening, you also have an international audience this evening. I see in the chat that Celeste from South Africa has joined us this evening, and she says that they are currently introducing intellectual property to their K-12 young inventors in South Africa. So this has been a very interesting program and has given me several excellent ideas and tips. Many thanks to the organization and the presenters. I am very pleased I attended the event. So, wow.
So, quick question. What time is it in South Africa right now?
Celeste has joined us at least once, maybe twice before. I believe it's 1 something in the morning in South Africa. Hopefully she will respond. 1 a.m.
Thank you, Celeste. And I applaud you, Miss Celeste. Wow.
And she says she is smiling. I know I saw a question from Ed Sotelo, and Juan or Crystal, if you see that before me, please do read that question out.
Sure. As a teacher, I spend a lot of time presenting STEM activities to students. What can I say to these kids when they come up with something their peers and I feel could be marketed?
Okay, well, I think the professionals on the call can weigh in on this, and we can provide some guidance. We know a little bit more than the students do. Juan, do you want to take that one, or Joyce, do you want to take that one?
I'm going to put on my Avengers shield and shield this to a trademarks expert on the call here. Ask
Okay.
ask
Well,
Miss Joyce.
oh, no. Well, first I was going to say to Ed Sotelo. Ed Sotelo, if I'm not mistaken, I recognize his name as a teacher who has joined us before at our National Summer Teacher Institute. And Ed is actually from Alaska.
I thought I recognized Ed's name.
Yeah,
How you
Ed,
doing,
Ed
Ed?
and his wife, they teach in Alaska. They work with a variety of populations, including indigenous or native Alaskan populations. So thank you so much, Ed, for joining us this evening. Um, or morning, depending on where where you are exactly. And but to answer your question, if some of your students come up with something that their peers and you feel could be marketed, I mean, from a marketing standpoint, certainly trademarks is something that you want to think about as far as selling. But if it's something that could be marketed, my first thought is that perhaps there's an invention there, Juan. Perhaps there's some other form of intellectual property that might be protected. So I would say one of the first things you want to do is figure out what it is. And I would use some of the things that Milan and Malachi have told us, some of the knowledge that they've provided about what types of intellectual property protects what. So I would look to see whether, oh, is this something that my student may need to think about getting a patent to protect? Or is this something where it's a brand name that they're marketing that they want to keep it? Milan told me that, hey, maybe this is like what's inside of a Twinkie. This might be something that I want to keep secret. So I need to think about that too. And then I don't know whether it's a creative or artistic work that maybe perhaps I need to look at copyright protection. But it sounds like what I first need to do, Ed, is one, figure out what it is that the student has, and then do some research to try to figure out, okay, well, what types of things are protected? What types of things am I trying to protect? I also might reach out to the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, to their Inventor Assistance Center, if I think it's an invention, or to some of the other resources at USPTO. In Alaska or in just about, well, any state, I could reach out to my Patent and Trademark Resource Center, which is a wonderful place to get information about things that have been patented, to answer questions about trademarks. So that might be another possibility. I could definitely reach out to Mr. Juan Valentin in the Office of Education at USPTO. I could send him an email to education@uspto.gov and say, Juan, or Mr. Juan or Mr. Valentin, my student has come up with something and I'm not sure where I should go. Now, of course, we can't give legal advice, but we can give procedural advice. It may be that you need to reach out to a pro bono attorney in your state or in your area to see if you can get some free or low cost support for your student. So there are a number of different places, Mr. Sotelo. It really is going to depend on what it is your student has and what they're trying to do with it. And so I would say you start with figuring out, well, what exactly is it that the student has? What type of intellectual property is it, or what type of work is it? And then what type of intellectual property would I use to protect it? So I hope I didn't muddle things up too much.
Yeah,
You
no,
did
that's
a
great,
great
Joyce.
job. You did a great job, Joyce. We've also placed in the chat um, access to some free resources. We've been reworking our website so that it is more user friendly and where it's easier for you to find resources at your disposal. And if you have a specific question and you want to direct that question to someone at the USPTO, the Detroit office, the Elijah J. McCoy Midwest Regional Office, is more than willing and able to provide you with an answer. We may be reached at Midwestern Region at uspto.gov. That send a query or a question to that email, and we will do our best to provide you with the best answer that we can under the circumstances. Are
Yeah,
there
that's
any other
great.
questions?
Crystal or
Students?
Juan, did we
Yeah,
have
I saw one
questions?
from
Miss-
one of the teachers, back to Milan and Malachi. Okay, so you two are young, especially we're dinosaurs compared to you guys. So What inspired you at such a young age? Like what inspired your creativity? Like what did you see that's like, you know what, I could do something like that? Like what was your inspiration?
Well, for me, it was family. Like I have brothers and sisters who like to rap, like to sing. My dad likes to sing. It's like a lot of people in my family likes to sing, and I feel like that was a big impact on me.
And do
I
y'all
agree with
sing? I'm sorry, Milan. Let me ask real quick. Do y'all sing together, Malachi?
Little bit.
Do y'all do the barbershop thing and get the harmony thing going on?
Little bit.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Milan.
I definitely agree with Malachi. I come from a very supportive family, so anything that I do, they support me 100%. So that's really what spikes my creativity because I know that they'll be there. So,
Okay.
And we are your family too now, so don't forget about us. We are here for you.
of course, of course.
Absolutely. I see mentors for some of our people dropping information into the chat. For those of you who are asking questions and seeking additional guidance and information, please feel free to reach out to us. We provide quite a few free resources, and I know it sounds crazy to say we're providing something free, but it is free. And we are glad to provide guidance and support to you in any way, shape, and form we can with regard to intellectual property. No legal advice, but we will provide you with some guidance. Free services have been provided in the chat, and we also have included in the chat a survey that we would love for everyone who is not a member of the USPTO who has taken part in this program and has had an opportunity to hear these fabulous students and to hear their answers to questions and the impromptu interview that I had with them, and to hear Director Vidal at the top of the program to share what your thoughts are with regard to the quality of this program, how we can improve this program, what your thoughts are on this program. The survey is self-explanatory, and we would love for you to take the opportunity to share with us your thoughts and feelings about how we have done and how we're doing. We're always looking to improve. Miss Joyce?
Thank you very much, Mr. Wilson. And I just want to, again, personally thank the Elijah J. McCoy Midwest Regional Office and Mr. Wilson for being such an avid supporter of this program, for gathering together outstanding mentors to work with the students in the Midwest Regional Office program. I want to thank so much Miss Crystal Hammond, who I know dedicated time and attention to work with Ms. Moses and Mr. Harris. Many props to Crystal for her tireless effort, and for not so much effort, but for just the energy and the passion that she brings to this work. We are so appreciative of you. And certainly want to thank Damian Picari, who serves as the director of the regional office, for being willing to take the plunge with us. This is actually the first time that the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office has had the work-based learning program in a place other than the USPTO headquarters. And so, of course, our partner on this program is Urban Alliance, which is a 501c3 that focuses on youth development. And we have a contract with Urban Alliance, and are very grateful and thankful to them for providing such outstanding and amazing young people who represent the organization so well, and who have represented USPTO well tonight. So I definitely see that we have a few people on the line from Urban Alliance, and want to make sure that I recognize the leadership there and thank them for joining us this evening. And certainly most important, not most important, but of great significant importance, I would like to thank Milan Moses and Malachi Harris. You did an
Yes.
outstanding job. We're so very proud of you. it is such a joy to work with both of you and with the entire Detroit team of students. You all are amazing. Asia, Sarah, Fatima, Darius. Alexandra is there as well. And it is just a joy to see and to work with all of you and to see your growth. You teach us so much.
Yes.
You know, this webinar is for educators. And the reality is that anyone can be an educator. We all can learn from each other. And every day that we have an opportunity to spend with you students, we are learning. And so thank you for all that you do. Thank you for being brave and bold and willing to take this journey with us and for speaking this evening. So I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you again. I know that we have a few announcements. I see Juan over there like waving and signaling over there.
I just want to say one thing, Joyce, really quickly before you said Milan and Malachi. From the bottom of my heart, I just am amazed by what transpired tonight. You have been with us for a short 3 months. I've been doing this for 8 years, right? And the presentation you delivered tonight, only being here for 3 months, is just mind blowing. I'm so impressed. I'm so proud of you and your preparation and your dedication to detail. For both of you was just so on point. And so please take this experience, continue to learn and run with it. And I'm so impressed. I can't wait to see what you guys do, 3 months from now, if this is what we're getting. So great job. I just had to say that.
Well, you will continue to see the fruits of their labor. Malachi has landed a interview with James West, and we're hoping that at some point in time we will be able to video that and make that available to others so that people can see. Malachi says he wants to go into marketing. A lot of times I listen to him and I'm watching him and I think he wants to be behind a camera or in front of a camera. And Milan, your smooth delivery and your calm is soothing to the spirit. So thank you so much to both of you again. I want to thank Joyce Ward for her leadership, for her contribution, and her coming to the Midwest office and making this request and thinking it not robbery to ask us to be the first ones to do this and to have the courage to say, you guys got this, you can do it, you can do it. There are days when we are like, but Joyce is there. She is supportive, as is her team, Juan Valentin and Jorge, Dr. V. And we just are so enamored with this team. We are glad that we have this opportunity to share. Joyce, you're doing a great job. I hope that there are those who see what your team's contribution is to the intellectual property ecosystem at the K through 12 level. And I am a staunch supporter, and I am here for you and your team. And don't nobody better than I say nothing bad about Miss Joyce and her team.
Okay, and thank you everyone this evening for joining us. I do have a few announcements that I want to make, and I'm going to ask my partner in innovation and education, Juan Valentin, with the announcement slides. If you have the ability to bring that slide up on the screen, that is the announcements. It is slide 1, 2, 3, 4.
Right.
That has
Mr. Ken, can you help out with that? I think you have that. That's the first slide deck we ran through.
Yep, I can put that slide up right now.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We have our annual National Summer Teacher Institute on Innovation, STEM, and Intellectual Property. The application is currently open for that program. I encourage you to consider applying for it, to encourage educators that you are aware of. And Ken, if you could go back one slide. If you will please encourage others to apply for the National Summer Teacher Institute. We'll get that slide up for you in a second. That application is available on the USPTO website at www.uspto.gov. Teacher Institute is where you can find that that slide. I'm sorry, that where you can find the information on the Summer Teacher Institute. There you are. But the application deadline is May 16th, 2022. And the dates of that program are July 25th through July 29th, 2022. We will be conducting that program in the metaverse. We use a platform that is known as Verbella, and thanks to STEM is Ed, which is another contractor at USPTO, we are able to offer this program in a virtual space. We definitely look forward to the day when we can all be together again at the NSTI, but this year we will be in the metaverse, and we hope that you will join us there. So again, we encourage you to go to uspto.gov /Teacher Institute and fill out an application. Tell educators that you know, and we will be more than happy to review the application. Coming soon, or I should say next month, to be specific, on May 31st, we will have Rosalita Santiago, who is a K-12 STEM teacher specialist for Arlington County Schools in Virginia Public Schools. She is a National Summer Teacher Institute alum, and she will share her experiences at the May Intellectual Property Workshop for K-12 educators. You can always find us here on the last Tuesday of every month from 6 to 7:30 p.m. And then last but not least is the first thing on the slide there. If you are an educator who is in need of continuing education credits or contact hours for continuing education credits, please email us at education@uspto.gov. We're happy to send you a certificate along with the number of contact hours. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. If there are additional questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, we will see you hopefully next month. I do want to let people know we do have office hours every Wednesday after the webinar. And so you can find us from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. On the Wednesday after the webinar. And it is the same link. So you don't have to think again about where do I go for the office hours. It's the same link as this meeting. So again, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Thank you to Director Vidal for her words of encouragement and inspiration, and just for caring to come to hear from our students. That means a great deal. And thank you so much, Malachi and Milan. Again, you were absolutely outstanding, and we are so very proud of you. Have a good evening, everyone. Thank you.